Are you mastering money? Or is it mastering you? People are in conflict when it comes to money. How much money is enough? Should you be generous as a business owner or frugal? Will you have enough money to pay your bills? Or so much left over that you'll be financially set for life? In this video, I will answer these questions and more as you understand how core energy intersects with finance in your business. My name is Jeff Schuster with Mechanics and Mindset Business Coaching. I cover a variety of topics that benefit small business owners and entrepreneurs. And if this is you, I'd appreciate it if you'd like this video and subscribe to my YouTube channel below. There are 8 critical mechanical components of business, and there are 7 levels of core energy. And I'm creating a series of videos called Business Mechanics and Mindset. And you can read about these topics in much more detail in my book entitled Business Mechanics and Mindset: How Your Thoughts Create or Sabotage Your Business Success. Today's video is the 5th of this series, and it's entitled Core Energy Money. Before I go too far, I've created another video that you may want to watch before you watch this one, and it's entitled What is Core Energy? And it explains the 7 levels of core energy in detail that will be mentioned in this entire video series. And I've left links to my book and the What is Core Energy video in the description below. Money is a core component of any business, and if you don't have enough, you're done. And rarely will you have too much. In today's video, I want to illustrate how core energy coaching concepts that are taught by the Institute for Professional Excellence in Coaching, or IPEC, intersect with business finance. Now, in my business coaching practice, I've discovered that there are 5 critical areas of finance that impact small business owners. The first of these is cash. How you manage the level of cash to support your business operations. I mean, not having excess cash in the bank and having plenty of cash to pay the bills. The second is pricing. What prices you set to ensure that you're competitive and you're providing sufficient margins to stay in business. The third is budgeting and forecasting. Creating a business model that forecasts revenue, expenses, and direct costs on a periodic basis and then sticking to it. The fourth is investing and debt, requesting and obtaining additional cash when you need it. And the 5th and final factor is money mindset, which is how you think about and treat money in your business. Now, I want to illustrate how the first 4 financial factors of cash, pricing, forecasting and budgeting, and investment and debt look at each core energy level. And I have a special surprise for the 5th element of money mindset, so stay tuned. Let's start with level 1, victim, with the core thought of, I lose. Now, victims will see any amount of cash as insufficient. If they have cash, they'll hoard it and try to get more. If they have no cash, they'll be convinced there's no hope for more cash. Victims are convinced that their customers don't have enough money to buy their products and services. And this results in either extreme discounts or closing their doors. When it comes to forecasting and budgeting, victims will only forecast what's sure to come, and then they will plan for the worst. When it comes to investing, investment or debt is the furthest thing from the mind of a victim mindset business owner. I mean, they can't understand why anyone would be foolish enough to invest money in their company. And victims will rarely borrow money because they're convinced they won't be able to make the payments on the debt. Let's move on up to level 2, conflict, with the core thought of, I win, you lose. Conflict mindset business owners often see cash as a war chest. I mean, literally. If they're competing with a cash-poor company, they may use their financial strength to drive their competition out of business. If they have a weak cash position, they'll avoid competition until they have a larger war chest. Conflict mindset business owners often see price as a competitive tool. If they can get away with it, they'll set their price high when their customers have no alternative but to buy from them. If there is heavy competition, They'll lower their prices and then reduce the quality or the quantity of their products to win business, oftentimes accompanied with upcharges after they've captured their customer. Conflict mindset business owners are judicious at financial forecast and budgeting. They watch every penny on their budget, almost to the extent of absurdity. Conflict mindset business people see investors and bankers as outsiders. Now, while they will use a loan to win the game of business, they'll get multiple bids to get the lowest interest rate and the best terms, sometimes ignoring other criteria of that credit. And when soliciting investment, they'll often hide negative characteristics about their business. Now let's move on up to level 3, acceptance, with the core thought of, I win. Acceptance mindset folks are like victim folks. They tend to want to avoid any reduction in their cash once they have it. Acceptance business owners tend to take a practical approach to pricing. They'll review what competitors are charging and then they'll match those prices. They then set their business plans to make a modest profit at the prices that are set by their competition. Acceptance mindset business owners look at the past as a predictor of the future. They may increase their expectations by the rate of inflation, but no more. Acceptance mindset business owners are often passive when it comes to investment or debt. They'll enter into debt with collateralized loans, but rarely any business loans. And the only way an acceptance mindset business owner is going to consider investors is if the investor offers investment. They will often not aggressively seek investment from outsiders in their company. Now let's move on up to level 4, compassion, with the core thought of, you win. Now, compassion business owners see cash as a tool to invest in people. When they have added cash, they often invest in training or coaching or other ways to grow their people. The two concerns that drive a compassion-minded business owner when it comes to price are, first, value for their customers, and second of all, sufficient price to pay their employees a living wage. Now, while both are admirable goals, they often have blinders on when considering other contributors to price, like competitive pressures or other market trends in their industry. When it comes to forecasting, compassion mindset business owners are primarily concerned about keeping enough work to keep their employees gainfully employed. Layoffs are a very last resort. They'll cut any other expense that they can before they lay off an employee. Compassion-minded business owners are agnostic when it comes to investors and debt. They're cautious to have investors who share their corporate culture and won't micromanage their decisions, especially when it comes to people. Now let's move on up to level 5, opportunity, with the core thought of win-win. Opportunity mindset business owners see excessive cash as a bad thing. This means that they're wasting cash that could be invested in growth opportunities, what many investors call dead money. Pricing is a dynamic variable for opportunists. An opportunity mindset business owner will offer low prices, typically to capture a large opportunity with a long-term client. An opportunist will usually have 5 copies of a forecast that show various scenarios. While this can be helpful, it can also be confusing to the uninformed. These business leaders often understand what will drive revenue, profit, and expenses in their forecasts, and this knowledge tends to exude confidence to all stakeholders, including themselves. Opportunists always consider debt and investment options when in need of cash. As I mentioned in the cash section, opportunists hate an excessive cash balance, and this means that they often seek out debt and investment to increase the cash that they can invest in win-win business opportunities. Now for a different approach to illustrating the 5th factor, which is money mindset. So I thought it may be helpful to witness core energy at work with a hypothetical scenario. So George owns Triple E Engineers, and it's a mechanical and electrical engineering firm with 25 employees. In the past 3 years, his firm has earned a consistent revenue of $4 million each year. Now this year may be a little bit different, as a few key architects that he relies on for business have indicated that they may not have as much work for him this coming year. And he does have $1 million in the bank. He wants to create a financial plan for the coming year. So I'll illustrate George's thoughts and feelings as he climbs the ladder from level 1 victim to level 5 opportunist as he assembles his financial plan for the coming year. Let's start with the victim. Now the victim, level 1, core thought, I lose. George is worried and he's convinced that his engineering firm will not do as well this coming year as in years past. He's planning to pull as much cash out of his firm as he possibly can to put into his personal savings so that his family can weather the financial storm that's sure to come. Let's move on up to the conflict mindset I call the fighter, which is level 2, and the core thought is, I win, you lose. Now George is filled with fear and anger at the same time, and he's convinced that the architects that had given him so much work in the past are now hiring his competition. If his customers are going to work with his competition, it's fair game for him to seek out other architects who are more willing to work with EEE engineers. So George creates a list of other architects and then he tasks his sales team with a mission to win over competitors of his current architects. So let's now move on up to the survivor or the acceptance mindset, level 3, with a core thought of, I win. Now George has decided to copy last year's financial forecast to this year as if the 2 years will be identical. And he figures since they managed to make a profit in the current year, things should be the same in the year to come. And if for some reason EEE engineers doesn't get work from his architects as they had expected, they'll just lay off people to ensure that they continue to make comparable profits to the current year. Now let's move on up to level 4, compassion. I call this the lover. And at level 4, the core thought is, you win. Now after hearing the news from his architects that they plan on lower activity this coming year, he offers to help them gain additional business. George had been asked by building owners in the past to plan and design renovation projects for their buildings. And since he was always busy with new construction from his architects in the past, he had refused this work. But now that the new construction was slowing down, it's a good time to team with his architects to help them create additional business to fill the void for the coming year. All right, now let's move on up to level 5, the opportunist, with the core thought of win-win. Now George sees the reduced workload from his architect customers as an opportunity for EEE engineers to take the lead on creating projects with building owner customers. EEE Engineers is a mechanical and electrical engineering firm. They had always relied on getting work from architects in the past. And while this was good work, they had little control over how much work they would get. So George wanted to conduct audits for building customers and then help them prioritize mechanical and electrical retrofit work. They'd be able to charge better margins for this work, and they could directly control the amount of work that they would complete. Now I've just described 5 core energy levels of a money mindset that was represented by George as he starts creating his financial plan for the coming year. There's no wrong scenario in any of these 5 reactions. However, George will create a completely different plan based on his mindset related to money. Now, as I've described core energy of money, you may relate to all energy levels at one time or another in your business. Now, as a business coach, I can tell my clients' overall money mindset simply by reviewing their financial statements. And I guarantee that you'll live at one of these levels in your business. And while there's no wrong money mindset, the most successful business owners tend to reside at level 4 or level 5. And likewise, the ones who tend to experience the greatest losses are also at level 4 or level 5. Now, as long as the loss doesn't deter you or de-energize you, you'll be able to bounce back and create a win-win business. Now, if you're holding back because you're afraid of a loss, there may be an opportunity for you to shift your energy and accomplish great things with your company. Now, I hope you've learned a few things about how you can improve your money mindset and the way that you handle money in your business. Once again, my name is Jeff Schuster with Mechanics and Mindset Business Coaching. Please visit my website at www.mmbizcoach.com. Until we meet again, I pray that God blesses you and your business.